Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Drowsy and I make videos all about simple life, organization, and planner videos. So if that's your type of jam, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also click the notification bell so you do know when I do upload, and follow me on all my social media. I'm at Drowsy Silva and a Babe Manager. So if you guys see this shirt already, mind your business because I'm batching all of my videos together today, so getting you guys a lot of slip of content for this month. So yeah, today's video is all about how to interview for a speech therapist assistant position, plus my tips on red flags from a company, like red flags that you should be watching out for when you're interviewing, because not every job is a good job and not every company is a good company. And I've already had my fair share of interviews and bad companies and what you guys need to look out for, and I want to give you guys the best experience that you could possibly have when you're applying for your speech therapy job, and have the best experience when you are out in the field and not have the experience that I did. So these are my 4 tips. These are my 3 tips, and I'm going to give you 3 red flags plus an extra bonus tip at the end. So stay tuned for that. So tip number 1 when it comes to interviewing for a slip-up position, so getting hired as a speech therapist assistant. Number 1 is to practice your interview questions, specifically speech related questions. Now I'm going to give you a couple of questions. I'm going to give you 3 questions that you guys I want you guys to practice on if you're going to be interviewing soon enough for a position. I'm going to give you guys 3 questions. These are the questions that I kind of see time and time again when I did interview. There's obviously an array of questions that they could ask you, but these are the 3 that I have mainly see when I was interviewing. So these are the ones that I basically got down, and I want you guys to do the same, because it'll give you the best, it'll keep you in the best position possible of getting hired. So number 1 question that I want you guys to practice is, what population / disorders are you interested in when it comes to the speech world, / also what population / disorders have you worked with in the past. So understanding that question and understanding what populations and what disorders you want to work with, and learn what disorders are what, just in case they like come back to you with another question after that. Make sure you just understand what disorders you like, and focus in on understanding what that disorder means and what is it. So disorders like phonological disorders, or fluency, or articulation disorders, like what exactly of that disorder and why you're interested in it. So think about that one. Number 2 is obviously to tell me about yourself. So this one, it's not literally just asking you like, oh, like fun facts about yourself. It's more so of like, what related content can you give me that you haven't put on your resume. So for me, I talk about how I did my undergrad, my field work, and how many hours, and what I learned during that experience. And then I do have experience working in the speech field, so you also include that if you have already had experience in the speech field. But if you haven't, that's okay. Just talk about your experience in your undergrad and your field work, and talk about what you learned and how you're going to be bringing that into the position. So the 3rd question that I've seen time and time again, which is kind of a weird question, but I mean it kind of goes within our field, is time management. So what do you know about time management tools / also documentation? So that kind of goes in hand. What I believe, it's because they want to make sure that you're submitting your notes on time, especially for the clinic. This is more so of the clinic. Well, no, it goes for everybody. So they want to make sure that you're submitting those notes on time, because that's how they get paid. Once you submit your notes, and they be able to close that file and bill that client for that hour. So if you're not submitting your notes on time, they're not getting paid, therefore you're not getting paid as well. So they just want to know that you have time management skills, tools, and what documentations what knowledge do you have when it comes to documentation. So what documentation that means is SOAP notes. which is what we do, which is the subjective, objective, assessment, and planning. I can go into SOAP notes and how to write SOAP notes and like my tips on SOAP notes. If you guys have any questions on that, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I could make a whole video on how you can do all of that. And then as far as time management tool, just learning about what tools you like to use. So for me, I like to include like my brain dumping. That's the one tool that I love so much. So number 2, when it comes to interviewing questions, is be confident in your answers. So even though it may be scary the first time, just like I said, practice your answers and be confident in them. So even if you feel like you're unsure of what you're saying, just be confident and just be like, I'm so sorry, like or not say I'm sorry, but just be confident and just say what you need to say. Number 3 is to know your reasoning behind applying with that specific company. Everybody has like different reasons. So obviously the number 1 reason is because you want a paycheck, but you want to go beyond that. So for me, I like to say that I'm looking for a company that provides support, that will help nurture the curiosity that I have for the field. Just find your reasoning behind why you're looking for a job and what it is that you want to receive from them. I think that's the question that they have. So I'm gonna go in with the 3 red flags that I do have. Dang, I'm gonna have to go with this later. Alrighty guys, so it's a completely different day. I wasn't able to finish the video last week, but I'm gonna finish it today and hopefully I could get this uploaded as soon as possible. But yeah, so I left off on red flags from an employer. So the red flag number 1 would be rushing through the interview. So I did an interview where the interviewer, she was the owner of the clinic, and she just seemed like she didn't manage her time, I guess, efficiently, and so she was trying to like rush me through the interview, which read a red flag with me, because if she's the owner of the business and she already feels like she's like spread thin, that just means that if I ever need any help from them, that I won't get a response back as quickly as possible, or I won't get a response back at all, or things will just like kind of slip through. So to me, I'm just like, I'm looking for somebody who has the support and has the help from multiple people, so that I'm not just going to one singular person. I can go through to multiple people if one person's really busy. So to me, that was a red flag. So if they're rushing through the interview, it just means that their time management skills is not good and communication is going to be off with that. Number 2 is that they look like they don't care about you. So I also had another interview where they didn't ask anything about me. They barely even talked about the company, which rang a red flag. Like, I asked them like, oh, can you tell me a little bit about the company? Because there wasn't really much online as far as like information about it, just because that company was like somewhat new. And she was like, you know what, I don't know a lot about the company. I know we just started about like 10 years ago or something like that. And I was just like, 10 years ago, and you have no idea what the company is about or like what your guys' values are? I'm like, that kind of rings a red flag, but whatever. So that to me is just like a little bit weird. And they didn't ask anything about me. They didn't really care about me. All they thought was just about the numbers on a piece of paper. So that to me also showed that they just weren't going to care about me as a slipper. They were just going to care about the money that I was bringing in. And yes, once I got into that job, it reflected exactly that. Number 3 is they do not follow through with what they say / what they're going to do. So if let's say you're doing an interview and they say, oh hey, we're going to email you the directions of the location, and let's say a week goes by and they never emailed you. To me, that rings a red flag, because I'm just like, why aren't you on top of it? Why haven't you? If I have to be the one to upkeep the communication, and you and as an employer you're not following through with what you say, it just means during our in my employment with you, the same thing's gonna happen where I'm gonna ask for things and things are not gonna follow through. And I like when people follow through with what they say and are time efficient. To me, that's just like key for everything. So that is all the red flags that I have noticed with companies. If you guys have any other red flags or any tips for other people who are going to watch this video, please leave them in the comments below. Let's help each other. I know there's not a lot of a community out there for speech therapy, especially speech therapy assistants. So any help for anybody will be greatly appreciated. I know a lot of people will probably appreciate that. My last tip for interviewing with and looking for red flags from an employer is ask how they can support you. So that's the number one key. As a speech therapy assistant, you want to know how you can be supported, because a lot of slippas feel exactly the same way. They feel overlooked, they feel unsupported, they feel unappreciated. So asking your employer, how can you support me while I transition into my first time being a slippa, or transition into this company that I've never worked before, or into this population that I've never worked before? How are you going to support me through this this transition, and making sure that I have what I need in order to give the best treatment to my client? So that's the number one thing I always ask every single employer when I do interviews, is how can you support me? And a lot of times they answer with almost like the same response, but keeping up with those like red flags will let you know whether the company is a good company or if it's a bad company. So anyways, that is all for today. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click the notification bell so you do know when I do upload, and follow me on all my social media. I'm at Joel De Silva. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye. Mwah.